the pre-departure orientation for all students going on exchanges for the fall, this coming fall or full academic year. I'd love for you all to put your name, pronouns, program, and country into the chat so everyone can see where everyone is going. Maybe there's someone going to the same program or country as you who you haven't connected with yet. Feel free to use this opportunity to share email addresses or phone numbers with one another. We have students going all over the world this fall. It's very exciting. I'll give you a minute to do that. I will be taking attendance today, but not until the end. So make sure you stay all the way to the end of the session. We should finish within an hour. There will be a QR code for you to use to sign in to get credit for coming today. So thank you for your patience. Okay, so we have a lot to cover today. These are different topics we're going to be going over here: academic, financial aid, and other finances type things, traveling, campus requirements, health and safety, and then finally signing in at the end. All the information that we're going to be going over is very general for all students. So there won't be any specific information about your program, about Japan specifically, or any other particular destination. If you do have specific questions that you haven't got answers to yet, like how do I apply for my housing and how do I sign up for courses, you should direct those questions to your host university, okay? If you're having trouble getting in contact with them, I'm happy to help you do that. You can reach out to me at the Global Learning email. I'll be happy to get you connected so you can get the answers that you need. Alrighty, moving along then. I just want to point out first, program quick links. So you all have them. I'm going to be referencing program quick links throughout this presentation, so I just want to make sure you know what I'm talking about. When you're signed into the Global Learning portal and you're working on your pre-departure information here, at the very top, there's the next steps section, which is the very first section you filled out when you were nominated to your program. On that page at the bottom, there's a program quick links hyperlink. That is where you will find your program's quick links. If you haven't already, make sure you save that, bookmark that in your browser. There's a lot of really useful information, dates, links, and other things specific to your program that you'll be needing to reference pretty much from here on out. While you're abroad, it will be helpful too. I forgot to mention, if anyone has a question at any point, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask. You can also put it into the chat. I am keeping my eyes on the chat, so I will pause to answer questions. And at the end, we'll have lots of time for questions too. So you can save your questions for the end if you wish. Okay, so jumping right in with academics. While you are gone away from UC Santa Cruz, you're going to be enrolled into a 15-unit placeholder by the registrar's office. For every quarter you miss, you'll be enrolled into this placeholder. If you're doing a fall semester that overlaps the winter quarter, you're going to have this placeholder on both fall and winter quarters. This allows you to remain as an active full-time student at UC Santa Cruz, which gives you access to financial aid and other services. Okay, so you won't be on a leave of absence or anything like that. You will remain an active UC Santa Cruz student. While you are abroad, you have to be full-time enrolled in courses at your host university. How many credits you must be enrolled in every semester depends on your program and depends on which semester it is. This gets a little bit tricky because we are a quarter school, so when you go abroad, the number of credits you need to take gets a little bit hairy, but we have figured out for you how many credits you need to take. So I just want to point this out now. You are responsible for making sure you take the minimum number of credits abroad to bring back to UC Santa Cruz. If you end up being under-enrolled, even if it's on accident, there will be repercussions, academic, financial, and so on. So I'm going to point out to you where to find the information that will show you how many credits you need to take on your program. So we back out here. So on the exchange's website, I'm going to take a look at, I'll look at Heidelberg University in Germany as an example. So you'll click on your program and you're going to click on courses under the quick links. And then on this page, you're going to look for the section called course load requirements. Okay. So bear with me. This is a little confusing. I'm going to try my best to explain. So you will see what the minimum requirement is in quarter credits for each semester. So it says here 24 quarter credits for each semester after it's converted to quarter credits. So you won't be taking quarter credits when you're abroad. You're going to be studying semester credits, ECTS, which is used in Europe, most of Europe. Australia has their own system. The UK has their own system. So it depends on where you're going. So basically what you need to make sure of is the number of credits you take locally adds up to 24. And this is for Heidelberg specifically. This will change for each university. I'm just showing you an example. So let's say you take 3 ECTS credit courses at Heidelberg. That means each course is 10 ECTS credits. That would be 8 quarter credits each. If you multiply 8 times 3, that's 24. Therefore, you will meet the minimum requirement. Do you have any questions about this? You're also welcome to reach out to our office when you are actually enrolling in courses. If you're feeling uncertain about whether or not you're enrolling in the minimum number of credits, you can always email us and we'll be happy to go over it with you personally. But if you have any questions now, I'm happy to answer those. Okay, it's quiet, so hopefully you all were able to get the gist of how this works. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yes, just make sure every semester you're enrolled in the minimum requirement. It will change from semester to semester too, so fall might be more than spring or spring might be more than fall, so just always check our website, okay? All right, UCSC study list. So when you enroll in courses abroad and you have made your final selection and you're not going to be making any more changes, you need to fill out a study list. So the study list informs UC Santa Cruz which courses you're enrolled in, as well as whether or not you want to take your courses as pass or no pass versus graded. So you get to choose. The study list is due around 3 weeks after your program starts. There is a specific deadline for every program. The deadline is in your quick links, your program quick links that we talked about earlier. So make sure you submit that on time. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes to submit the study list. So just make sure you set up a calendar reminder for yourself to do this. And the link to submit the study list, which is a Google form, is in your Predeparture information section of your global learning portal. So if we go back here, I believe it's here under academics abroad. So it's a little bit about halfway down. That's how you'll find your study list. Okay. Conveniently, I have your study list deadlines for all the programs right here. So if you want to jot it down, you can. But again, it is in your quick links if you want to reference that later. Okay, moving along. All right, as far as fulfilling degree requirements on the program, if you want to get GE credits fulfilled, there is a very specific process you need to follow. It's called the proposed program evaluation. It is on our website. It's basically an online form that goes to the Office of Admissions. So admissions has authority over whether or not any given course that you take abroad could fulfill a GE requirement. You can fill that out at any time before, during, or even after your program. It takes up to 6 weeks for admissions to make a decision, but you can submit multiple courses at a time. And if you want to get major or minor credit, you will have to work with your major or minor advisors. So they have the authority over whether or not courses count for your major or minor and how to go about doing that. So if you haven't already had a conversation with your department about this, I recommend you do it before you go abroad. And keep in contact with them too when you go abroad. If you end up enrolling in different courses than what you were planning on taking, you definitely want to have a check-in with your advisors if you are planning to count any courses for your major. Make sure you save all your coursework and syllabi. Your advisors might want to see it if you're going to get credit for your major or minor. So just make sure you save everything and bring it back with you to Santa Cruz. Grading scale. So the grade you earn abroad, a B, for example, on any given program may not be a B at UC Santa Cruz. It might be an A- or a B-. So there's a grading scale. If you want to see what it is, it's in your program quick links. So those will be converted over when your grades return to UC Santa Cruz. And credit conversion, we also talked about that a little bit already. So you're going to be taking a different credit system when you're abroad, and those credits are going to be converted to a different number upon returning to Santa Cruz. So you can also see how that conversion works in your quick links. Pass, no pass policy. So you can take classes for pass, no pass on exchange. Any pass, no pass courses you take will count towards your total 25% maximum at UC Santa Cruz. So hopefully you're aware that you can take no more than 25% of your coursework as pass, no pass. So again, anything you take abroad will just count towards that. Graduating abroad. If you are planning on finishing up your last semester abroad and you're not going to be returning to UC Santa Cruz to finish up, then I just want to let you know that there's always going to be a bit of a delay until your grades and your courses return to campus. So typically what that means is you'll have to apply to graduate for the next term. So for example, if you're doing a spring semester, you're probably doing a summer graduation, and depending on how late the spring abroad is, it's possible you may have to do a fall graduation. So there's a very specific process you need to follow if you're going to be having to wait out a quarter to graduate. We need you to withdraw from the university so we don't charge you tuition and fees because you're not actually taking courses at UC Santa Cruz again. In your Global Learning Portal, in your nomination form, you were asked if you're going to be graduating abroad. If you said yes, then we will be following up with you with more information, a reminder of what you need to do. So you may want to go back and check to see if you answered that question as a yes. If you're not sure, just email us and we'll make sure that you're on the list of students who will receive that information about what to do. Grade changes. Okay, so as I mentioned, you have to submit a study list indicating what courses you're taking and whether you want to take them for grades or pass, no pass. If you just change your mind and you halfway through the semester decide you want to switch from graded to pass, no pass, or vice versa, you can do that. It's called a grade change request, and there's a deadline by which you must do it. So you can see the deadline and you can find the form that you need to fill out for that in your program's quick links. And just to note that your host university also has their own academic policies and academic culture in terms of attendance, in terms of, class participation, lecture style versus group work, authority for your professor. Some countries, professors are very friendly and go by first name. In other countries, professors are, held in high esteem, and you have to be really extra polite when you interact with them. So if you haven't had a chance to research this more about your country, about your school, it's something I recommend you maybe spend some time on. And, as they say, when in Rome, do as they do. So I botched that a little bit, but you know what I mean. And then, you can always make friends with local students in your host country. If you're not sure about the culture and the classroom etiquette, you could always make friends with local students and ask them about those types of questions too. Okay. Financial aid. So if you receive financial aid, you hopefully already got an estimate request by now, but if you haven't, that's fine. You can ask for one at any time. So basically, there is a form on our website that you can fill out and email it to this email address, and they will get back to you with a rough idea of how much aid you should expect to receive. So let me just actually show you on our website real quick. Get started, affording global learning, get a financial aid estimate. 2 steps here, just fill out this form and then email it to financial aid. And it will take about a month for them to get back to you. And then also a couple more things about financial aid. In your pre-departure module in the Global Learning Portal, in order for you to receive your financial aid, there are some forms you need to fill out. So you asked, do you receive financial aid? Are you planning on using it for your program? If you said yes, then you should have been asked to complete these 2 forms. If these forms do not look familiar and you haven't seen that, you need to go back to your portal and check that out again. Let me just back up again to the screenshot. So here's your pre-departure information. Here's financial aid. On this screen here, it asks you, yes, no, do you use financial aid? So make sure you answer that correctly. There's a special process we have to follow to disperse aid to exchange students in a timely manner. So it's really important you fill out these forms. And as far as when you get your aid, you're going to see your package for your program on your portal about 30 to 45 days before your program begins. You have to make sure you accept the package. And if your aid exceeds the amount you owe Santa Cruz for tuition and fees, then you get a disbursement about 10 days before your program begins. Okay, so aid comes out according to your program start date, not the Santa Cruz start date. Okay. All right, some other requirements I want to mention. Your health clearance is due July 1st. Some of you got an extension because you're running behind. That's totally fine. If you're not going to make it by July 1st, please just let me know. Communication is always important. If I don't hear from you, then I have reason to believe you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're neglecting your responsibilities. So just let me know if you need extra time. Contact information abroad. I know this is going to be hard to remember. When you first arrive abroad, you're going to have so much to deal with, right? And so much that you're getting used to. But we do need you to tell us your address, your physical address, and any phone numbers that you have abroad. This is due 1 week after you arrive in your country. And this is also in the Global Learning Portal. Itinerary for your flight. You need to also give us your itinerary in the Global Learning Portal. Make sure you wait to book your flights until your host university has officially accepted you and given you an arrival date. So there's always going to be a very specific arrival date, where there's usually going to be an orientation for exchange students, move-in date for housing, that sort of thing. So just make sure you don't arrive too early. And just give us your itinerary in the Global Learning Portal no more than 1 month before you leave. Okay. If you have a disability, accommodations are possible. Most universities have a disability office. So make sure you reach out to the DRC on campus here at UC Santa Cruz and let your host university know as soon as possible that you need accommodations so that you can try to have those set up before you arrive. Health and safety. So I just mailed out Monday 2 cards. One of them is the emergency contact card. So you're going to get a physical copy of this card. It basically just has like your university's address and phone number, the contact information for the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, and some health insurance information and how to call 911 in your country. There's also an electronic copy in your program quick links. So if you lose your hard copy, you can still find it there. The other card that you're getting is for GeoBlue insurance, which we'll talk about later. Travel sign-up forms. So anytime you're going to be leaving your college town or city where you live, like if you're just traveling for fun or something like that, we ask that you please fill this out just so we can be informed of where you are. We're not trying to follow you or stalk you or anything like that, but in the case that there is a natural disaster or civil unrest or something really catastrophic, we want to know where everyone is at any given moment, okay? So when the pandemic broke out a couple years ago, we needed to know where everyone was immediately to figure out how to make sure they were safe and make decisions on what students should do next. So this is all about. So make sure when you do travel, fill out this form. The link to the form is in your program quick links. Okay, insurance. All right, 4 types of insurance here to talk about, so bear with me. You're all going to be enrolled. You all have already been enrolled in GeoBlue. So this is comprehensive international health insurance. It covers existing and unanticipated health conditions, drug, surgery, hospital care, psychological care, and you should have received an email already to activate your online account. So make sure you activate that. The deadline is July 30th, but I recommend you just go ahead and do it now to get it done. And the premium for this is billed to you in your MyUCS account, and it'll be due with your September bill for fall quarter. And so you're just charged that one fee, and then you're covered, and everything is reimbursable through GeoBlue Health Insurance. And you will get a card. The envelopes I mailed you all this week will have a little GeoBlue card on it that has your name and your policy number and all of that on there. So you could use it when you're traveling. There's also UC Travelers Insurance. This one is also required, but I cannot enroll you in it. You actually have to enroll yourself. So we ask that you please do that at least 1 month before you depart. This is a little bit different than the previous insurance. It does have medical coverage, but it's not as comprehensive as GeoBlue. We ask that you enroll in this too because it's free, covered by the UC, and also because it covers trip cancellation or interruption, loss of personal property. So for example, if you lose luggage, if you have a flight delay and you have to stay overnight on a layover at a city that you weren't anticipating, it would help cover your cost to do that. So it does just provide extra insurance coverage that GeoBlue does not. So again, it's free, but you do need to enroll yourself. Question, yes. So the link to enroll is in the Global Learning Portal. So there's like a UC Travelers Insurance website that it will take you to where you can enroll yourself. Yeah. Okay, UC SHIP. So the Health Center mandates that all students continue having domestic health coverage while abroad. So if you normally enroll in UC-ship, you should continue to be in UC-ship. If you usually do a domestic health insurance through your family or some other plan, you can stay in that plan. You can waive out of UC-ship like you normally would. So the idea here is that everyone has minimum domestic health coverage, even when you're abroad, even though you won't be using it. It's just required by the health center. And to be honest, it's a really good idea because if you needed to come home for any reason in the middle of your program, you would still be covered. You could still see a doctor, especially if you were returning home for health problems. You would have no interruption in coverage. So just stay enrolled in your normal domestic insurance while you're abroad. UC-ship does include international coverage, but it's not really designed for international coverage, so I don't think it's very easy to use. I recommend you just use your GeoBlue instead. Okay, and then local insurance in your country or healthcare. Your host country may have a national health plan that may be optional or even mandatory for international students like yourself. So if you have been asked to enroll in the health plan abroad, make sure you do so if it's mandatory. If it's optional, it's totally up to you if you want to do that. So just be aware that there might be that as well. Okay, changing gears, we'll talk about money a little bit. So when it comes to using money abroad, you want to make sure you research your host country really carefully before you leave the country, before you leave the US. Some countries are still pretty cash-based and they have limited credit card options, or vice versa. Some countries like only use credit now and don't really have cash. So just make sure you know where you're going and what is expected and normal. We have a few recommendations here. Charles Schwab is great for students traveling abroad because they have branches all over the world and you can withdraw money and access money really easily. So a lot of students will open up a Charles Schwab just for study abroad. Make sure you have a credit card that has no foreign transaction fees. Okay, foreign transaction fees will add up really quickly. There are lots of credit cards these days you can get that don't have a foreign transaction fee. I like to use Capital One Quicksilver. It's great. That's just one recommendation. And we also recommend that you exchange some currency upon arrival, maybe at the airport, but you'll probably find a better rate for exchange in town closer to where you're living and studying. So just be aware that sometimes the airports can be really expensive, but not a bad idea to get some money exchanged when you arrive or even before you leave. You can go to a bank here in the US and get currency exchanged in advance to carry with you. Just make sure you're not carrying a large amount of money on your person when you're actually traveling to your destination. That would be a bit unsafe. And your host university can definitely provide guidance on how or if you can open a bank account abroad if you want to do that, or if you have other questions about like how common is it to use a credit card and how do most international students access cash. Your host university should be able to provide a lot more specific information. Okay, passport. So make sure your passport's valid for at least 6 months beyond the end of your program. Okay, if it's going to expire sooner than that, you may not be able to even board the plane. That's a requirement for a lot of countries. I'm pretty sure I've seen all your passports and you're all okay, but just check just in case. Most countries do require a visa or a permit if you're going to be there for long term. There are a few exceptions, but most countries do. Your host university will give you the documents you need to apply for a visa or residence permit. Usually you have to do that in advance before you leave the US. You may need to go to a consulate in person. You may be able to do it online. Every country is different. There's no rhyme or reason, except that visas are typically a bit of a pain in the butt to get. So that being said, if you are in the process of applying the visa and you're lost and you're confused and maybe the host university isn't giving you a lot of information, just always reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you figure it all out. I know it can be a bit stressful to get a visa. Okay. Conduct abroad. This should be a no-brainer, but you're expected to be a good representative of UC Santa Cruz and abide by all UC Santa Cruz policies. And you need to abide by your host university and host country policies and laws. So there will be policies and laws that will be surprising to you. There are many countries where marijuana is very illegal, very, very illegal, okay? So just be aware, do your research in advance, and just know that any misconduct abroad may result in your dismissal from the program, which will definitely result in academic or financial consequences and impact your enrollment here at UC Santa Cruz. So be a good student. And while you're gone, just know that there are inherent risks and dangers in travel. These risks and dangers may be similar or very different than those that you experience in California, in Santa Cruz. Some destinations, crime rates are very low, much lower than you may be used to, or they may be maybe a little bit worse. It may depend on the nature of the crime. So you just want to be really careful when you're traveling, be very vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, and make sure that you are adhering to all health and safety requirements and guidance provided by my office, by your host university, by the CDC, by the Department of State. Take responsibility for your own health and safety, and be thoughtful about your own risk tolerance, okay? And just stay informed and do a lot of research in advance. As for COVID, which is the new normal, be sure to continue to take precautions against COVID and follow all local guidelines. So you still have to comply with the UC vaccination program policy. While there are waivers for the COVID vaccine through the program policy through the UC, that may not be the case for the country or the university where you're going. They may require vaccines, and they don't care if we have exceptions here in the US. So please make sure you're fully vaccinated before you leave. If you are not fully vaccinated, I highly recommend you reach out to me as soon as possible so that we can research if there are any possible barriers for you to actually study abroad. Host countries have their own rules and policies regarding this. Okay, other orientations. So you all should have, or maybe not all of you, participated in the Intercultural Communication PDO. This is for all departing students, exchanges, UCAP, all the other program types we do. So we're offering those through an extended period of time, so make sure you take care of that. Your host university should also be having an arrival orientation where all the international students like yourself get together when you arrive and to go over really important information about your host university and all the things that I'm sure you all have many questions about. So if you're not sure about that orientation, if or where it's happening, be sure to ask about it. And lastly, please check in with us. We would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. We will send you a survey at the end of your program, but we'd love to just have you shoot us an email, let us know how you're doing, send us some photos, and you know, don't be shy. We're always here for you if something comes up, anything, a health problem, an academic problem, a personal problem. Better to be proactive and reach out and let us know what's going on than to let it become a bigger issue. So please always know that we are here to support you, even though we are very far away from where you will be going. We will do what we can to support you, always. Okay, and with that, you can sign in now to the session using the QR code on the screen, using your phones. If you are zooming in on your phone and you can't take the picture of the screenshot, let me know in the chat and I will send you the Google form link directly. And if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Once you sign in to get credit for today, you are free to go. Okay, I see one of you is on your phone. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, y'all have fun.
Hi, Chrissy.
Hi.
I have a quick question about earlier when you were talking about like how the amount of credits transfer. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to be studying in the UK at Sussex for the fall semester. And so what I saw on the application and everything was that it's standard for them to do. Yeah, if you wanted to pull it up, that'd be cool. Thank you.
You said
But
Sussex?
Sussex, yeah.
Okay.
So it seems standard for them to do like when I was applying to the school, specifically choosing my courses and everything, a semester would be 60 of their UK credits with a minimum of 45 for semester. So each class is 15 or 30 of their credits. And so it seems like if each class is a 15, so from what I noticed, classes are either 15 or 30 over there. So that would be 6.
Okay.
So if I took 4 courses there, which would like it would be a full course load considered by them, that would in theory translate to 24 UCSC credits, right? Because it would be a full semester of classes as opposed to a quarter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So their minimum is 45. So I just wanted to confirm that if I do end up taking 45 for it to, be, I guess, a little less challenging, then maybe that would still get me 18, which in theory would be good because I can come back and I'll still have 2 quarters left of the year.
So you said they require 45 per
45
semester?
is a minimum, yeah. So that would be 3 courses.
Yes, I forgot to mention this earlier. I wish I had. Thank you for bringing it up. So the host university, they often have their own minimum requirement. However, our minimum requirement always supersedes theirs. So if we require a minimum number of credits that is more than the host university, you'll have to go by our requirement. So we need to make sure that you're getting up to 24 quarter credits. So if you're doing the 15 credit courses, you would need to take 4 of them to get to 24. Does that make sense?
So it's expected to take the full 60, even though, okay, that's interesting. Do you know why that is? Since it would technically be like considered I'm being exchanged for the fall quarter, I would still be getting 24 UCSC credits.
Good question. Let me write that down and look into it. And there might be something I'm not thinking of, but I will definitely look into it and make sure that that's still correct for just fall, correct?
Yeah, just fall semester. Because yeah, I guess I'm expecting the courses to be a little more challenging. So taking 4, and even though like it is fall semester, it's not very much longer than a quarter at UCSC.
Yeah.
So 4 classes seems a little daunting, especially if it's considered 24 credits.
Right.
And I'm used to taking 15. So that seemed like a little much. So taking 18 seemed like a more bearable number, especially being abroad. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah. And so if the minimum is 45, the other thing is to get to 45, you said they have some classes that are 30. So were you thinking,
Yeah.
you were hoping to take 130, 115?
So all of the classes that I ended up applying for and that were approved for my major by my advisor happened to be 15 credits at their
Okay.
school. Yeah, so I would be able to
3
take
and
3
15.
classes.
I see. Okay. I will look into it and see, because I definitely don't want you to have, I don't want you to have to take more than you have to.
Yeah.
I just have to make sure you're taking the minimum to maintain full-time status at Santa Cruz. So I will look into it and I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you, Chrissy.
Yeah, of course.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Anyone else have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
A couple questions actually, and a request.
Yes.
First of all, for the Geo Blue insurance, I haven't registered yet. It's been kind of busy. I'm moving to a new house right now, so it's, my life has been kind of hectic right now. But I did get the email.
Perfect.
I know that in the presentation you said too that the Geo Blue covers like prescriptions and stuff.
Yes.
I was wondering if Geo Blue would I guess maybe I should contact the hosting university, but because I do have a couple meds that I need to make sure that transfer over to a pharmacy there. Would I do that through Geo Blue, or should I contact the hosting university?
That is a great question. Let me ask you first, have you done your health clearance yet? Have you
I
gotten
have
that
the form. I have the form ready,
Okay.
signed by the doctor, and I
Okay.
do have my immunizations ready to be sent in.
Did they talk to you yet about one thing that's nice about the health center on campus is they have a travel clinic, which means they can help you figure out taking medications abroad. Like some medications are not even legal.
Yeah,
abroad,
or
so-
or I know some medications are just not used in country,
Right.
so that's why I'm a little nervous about that too, because mine is just the meds I take I'm definitely worried about, because they might not be might be legal, they might not be.
Exactly. So I'm not sure if you're going through your personal doctor or the health center on campus, but I would definitely check in with the health center on campus, because they should be able to address that type of question with you about which medications are allowed abroad. So starting with making sure your medications are okay abroad, and if so, or if not, maybe there's a different brand you need to switch to. That might be something you have to do. And then as far as getting them fulfilled abroad, that is a great question where to start. I'm not sure if I think either GeoBlue. Actually, I would recommend you start with GeoBlue.
Okay.
Once you get registered and you have a way of contacting them, you can just call and start asking those questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so because I don't use the campus medicine. I use my own doctors. So
Okay.
I go through the same route really much. So it's like talking to my doctor and after I do GeoBlue, seeing where that gets me pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Just make sure you're talking to someone who has expertise on what medications are allowed abroad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is a request, because I have filled out my health clearance already and my immunizations, but I've been having, because I am moving this week, I might need just a couple day extension. I thought I'd be okay, because I thought I already had the forms filled out, but I might need just a couple day extension for that clearance.
No problem. Thank you for letting me know. I'll put a note. I'll make a note for you that it'll be coming in a little bit late.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Sydney, you're still here. Do you have any questions?
Oh, I was hoping you could also help me, similar to the other students for the course load requirements. I just want to make sure my
Sure.
math is right on that for SNU and Seoul.
Yes, we can definitely take a look real quick.
Thank you.
Remind me, are you going for fall only or full year?
It's for fall semester.
Okay. So they use semester credits at SNU. So the minimum requirement is 18 for fall. So basically, you just need to make sure that, see, at SNU, I think most courses are 3 semesters each. So you'd probably end up taking, let's see, 3 semester credits is 5 quarter credits. So that's not going to come out super even, but it looks like you'll have to take at least 4. 4 times 5 is 20. That would be the minimum. So if you're taking only 3 semester credits, you'll need to take 4.
Yeah, I was looking at the courses are about like 3 on average.
Okay, good. Yeah. And of course, if they're, you're taking one for 1 or 2, that's fine too. Just make sure whatever it adds up to is
Mhm.
going to be at least 18 after you convert.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Great.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.